Am I audible? শুনতে পাচ্ছ?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, good morning, students. Today we're going to discuss about the most important parts of Drug and Cosmetics Act. It is the import of drug and cosmetics. In previous classes, we know about we discuss about the all importance and objectives of the drugs and cosmetics. Now, today discuss how to any organizations, any manufacturing industries, and any person who able to import of any drug and cosmetics from any exporter country or from any foreigner or other country. Okay, so import of drug and cosmetics is most important parts in case of deal with Drug and Cosmetics Act, because import of drug and cosmetics it's obey several rules and regulations and objectives and passing through different criteria which control the import of drug and cosmetics. So now coming to the first slide, which is denote that what are the objectives we obey in during the import of drug and cosmetics. Import means when any company have capability or ability to get a product from a other company or other country. When other company they are able to export any product to the another company, he is doing as a exporter situation, and which company receive the product from a foreign country or other company, they are denoted as a importer of the drug and cosmetics or products. The first point, which denote that term import is derived from the conceptual meaning as to bring in the goods and services into part of the country. Means they have a conceptual meaning that they are able to take a product or bring a goods and services from the other part of the country or within the country from the other company. So this is the first started of the import process. And what is the next? When any buyer who such consists some goods and services, okay, they are called as the importers. So which buyer take the import responsibility, okay, and take the product from the other country or the state within the country, they are called as the importers, and those are export the product or send the product to the importer. They are called as a exporters. So this is the basic differences between the import and export. Import means bring the goods from the other manufacturer or other country, and those manufacturers send a product according to the order to the importer. They are called as a exporters. Okay, so they are called as a importer and the exporters. So in case of the Drug and Cosmetics Act, they are provide some rules, including the import of the drug and cosmetics. So they are when try to import any drug and cosmetic substances, they have deal with some rules and regulations which is established under the Drug and Cosmetics Act. So basically, import process is handled by some licensing authority. In previous classes, you have already known about the licensing authority and what are the functions. Licensing authority, it is an authority who can able to give a license to a manufacturing committee, okay, in a quality control part committee and a manufacturing industry. Okay, they all parts of the pharmaceutical professions and drug and cosmetics include in these professions. They're all may obey the rules and regulation of the license, and those company were able to maintain the rules and regulations of this act, okay, they are able to get the license from the licensing authority. And this licensing authority is directly connected with the drug inspector. Okay, and you know about the function of the drug inspector and their qualifications. So drug inspector first incorporated in this authority, and they can inspect the all over process, and they send the result to the licensing authority, and licensing authority check the all those results they are correct or incorrect. If it is correct, so they have sent some form to the directly to the manufacturer firm. They have filled it and they get the license for import the drug and cosmetics or manufacture or other purpose. So in case of import of drug and cosmetics, they also obey the rules and regulation of licensing authority. So according to the main object of the import, it is the import of a standard quality of product. If you import a product which is not in your priority or which is not in your regulations, under the regulations, and it is not a good product, but you have to import from another company, but your import process is not successfully done. So you have to check first what type of product you have to import from the other company or the other country. How to check? You first send your criteria. That's your product particle size, that micrometers, your product color is that, your product crystal size is that. The all criteria are you have to prepare and then send to the exporter country. Okay, exporter country take those responses and they have sent a sample product directly to the importer country. They in the importer country take the sample from the exporter country, and they check that they have sent this criteria to the exporter country. They fulfill the criteria and send a sample to the importers, and they check the sample that it is fulfill the criteria. Okay, so then he send a letter to the exporter country that our your sample is fulfill our criteria, and you send a large bulk amount of sample according to the order and import it. So this is the total process that how importer country responds to the exporter country, and exporter country the opposite of the response what they are saying. So this is the main objective, that you have to get the standard quality of the product or standard quality of the drug and cosmetics from a exporter and import the standard quality. So these total process are maintained by the custom collector, because custom collector is one of the system. Those are maintain the import and export system. During import, they have to check, and during export, they are included to check it. What they are checking? Custom collector when present into the importer uh, port, okay, which port are regularized for the import, okay. So this port are under the custom collectors. Custom collectors, what is they doing? They have checked that which company purchase the product or import the product from the other country or the other product, that this is not in according to the this is standard quality or not. How to check that the product level claim, product particle size, and what are the criteria they mentioned in this legal form, which is matched with the product criteria or not. Product is oily closed containers or not. Okay, so these types of criteria they have checked and they have access to import the product. This is under the custom collectors. So during the import process, obviously, the drug and cosmetics are compliant with some standard states. This standard states is done by the customer collector and presence of some assistants. Okay, the assistants are take the samples and going to be tested. After getting the results, you take the samples from the importer by the company. So, so all those are objectives with some rules and regulations and discuss in import and drug and cosmetics. Now, come into the what type of categories of drug and cosmetics that are prohibited or to be imported in the India. So according to rules and regulations, different types of categories they are divided. And these types of categories of drug and cosmetics are prohibited. They are not allowed to import it in India. Okay. First point, it is that any drugs or cosmetics which does not conform to the prescribed standard. Means you purchase any product from a exporter country and import also. So when the product is come or something drug and cosmetics, you send another criteria but send a different criteria. During the sampling process, when the exporter country send the small amount of sample to the importer country and they check and cross verify that your product is fulfill your our criteria and you send a bulk amount of sample. But when they send the bulk amount of sample to the importer country, during bulk amount of sample, they are not fulfill the criteria because so what happened? This is not under the standard quality of product. So these types of product is not allowed under the import in India. So you have to fulfill the prescribed standard product. And this product is cross-verified by the custom collector and they resend into the exporter country. Okay. Now, second point is coming. These terms you are already known that misbranded, adulterated, and spurious drugs. If any product consists, or if any cosmetics consist, drug and cosmetics, they are showing some misbranded attitude, adulterate, and spurious product or drug during the import, so it is automatically rejected by the custom collector or as well as country, as well as the importer country from the importer port. Now coming to the third point, any drug and cosmetics for import of which license is not properly mapped. So first, you know about the license, that licensing authority give the license or not. If any importer country, when getting their products, they have to get the license from the licensing authority. Okay. So if they are not in license, they are not able to take any type of product from the exporter country or import any type of product from the exporter country. Okay. So first they have applied for the license, they get the importer license. So that time they are eligible for getting the import product. Now let's come into the any patent or proprietary medicines. Already know that what is patent and what is proprietary. So patent and proprietary means they are vital products or vital medicine or vital cosmetics. So these medicines, unless displayed in the prescribed manner on the label or containers, some criteria is mentioned here, that true formula, active ingredients, quantities. So you consist or contain patent or proprietary product, import the patent and proprietary product. But during the import, the patent and proprietary product or medicines, what suggestive label came, what should be present in their labeling containers. But this is not present at a time. Okay, this is not present this time. So what happened? It is automatically rejected. What type of things is to have, what things should be present in this labeling container, that is the true formula of the product. What is the true formula of the product? Means what are the categories of product present in this? What is the label claim? Okay, and what is the active ingredient present? What is the quantity? Those are not included or not mentioned in this container. So this is already automatically rejected, right? Import country. Second point, it is the next point, that any drugs which by means of any statement, like design or device, accompanying with it, cause some unusual or harmful effect. If your product or if your device consists any things, after testing, it is shown that some harmful or unusual substance is present, which causes some unusual and harmful effect of our body, of any, or any contamination is happened with the other device to the other device. Next is that any cosmetics containing any ingredients which may render it unsafe or harmful. Means if any product or if your ingredients consist some unsafe or harmful substances which causes some harmful effects of our body. It is imported, the cosmetics. If cosmetics is imported in any way, when you use this cosmetic or use this medicines, it causes a harmful effect. But that time you should not blame the exporter company. Okay, because they are already imported. So before imported, you have to check the product. How to check? Yeah, the custom collector and their assistants help to you to check the product, tells the product that is it harmful or not. If it is harmful, so it is directly rejected, get a challan against the exporter country and sent to it into the exporter country. A large amount of penalty you should be charged about this matter. Drugs which claims to be prevent or cure any out of the disease or element specified in Schedule J. Okay. So this is under Schedule J. Schedule J means the drug which to be claimed to prevent or cure of any disease. The doctor whose drugs is claimed as a that he this is cure the disease or the other problems. But during the test, it is not doing properly. So that time it should also be rejected under Schedule J. Drugs which have not been labeled and packed in the prescribed manner. It is also be discussed that which drugs container. This is bulk drug or small drugs which to be dispensed in a container, but it is not tightly closed. Okay, so it is not properly packed, or packaging facility is broken down during the transport. Okay, or your container, your product is moisture sensitive, but say they do not give any tamper-proof packaging. Your product is light sensitive, they do not give any amber color content. So this also the criteria. It is all dealing with the labeling and the packaging department. It should be checked by the custom collector and by the imported country and automatically rejected in a prescribed manner and sent to the exporter. Okay, so these are the some criteria. Now, another criteria is that any drug whose manufacture, sales, and distribution is prohibited in the country of origin. Okay. Any drugs which is automatically already banned in our country, but any companies try to import it. But when it is come into the imported regions, it should automatically cancelled by the customer because it is prohibited in our country or banned in our country. If you import any biological or other special product, biological means any blood products, vaccines, hormones, steroidal products, these types of biological surgical product which should be under Schedule C and C1. when you have to import these types of products, first you confirm about the date of expiry, because any some countries are saying that old products or old damaged products into the imported goods. What happened when these biological products inject into the body of a patient? So some unusual disturbances, unusual effects to give during this injection. During this injection. So you have to confirm about the date of the expiry, which is marked on their label. And if it is those not complying with the standards of the strength, means what is the strength of the biological products or other products, quality, and the purity, it all should be done by a chemical test. So after chemical test, you have confirmed that your product is strength, quality, purity is matched with the standard manner. If it is not matched with the standard manner, so this is prohibited or cancelled to import any. So any new drug, if it is first supply in import in this country, so already get a permission from the licensing authority again from the new drugs. First you take a permission for import the drugs from the licensing authority, but if you import any new drug, so you have get the two licenses. First is the import of the drugs and cosmetics, and next one is the new drug imports. When you have to go for new drug import, you get the another permission from the licensing authority. Any drug and cosmetics, the import of which is prohibited under the rules. Okay. Now, categories of drugs which can be imported under the license or permit. Now, we had previously discussed about the which types of categories we have to prohibit. Now, which types of categories we should include in the import of drug and cosmetics under the license or permit, and which license we can get easily. First one is the all drugs specified is under Schedule C and Schedule C1. Schedule C and Schedule C1, those are consist. Schedule C consists of some injectable ophthalmic preparations, and Schedule C1 consists some biological product, but should not contain any injectable preparations. Okay, so these types of products, it should be careful during the export and import, because these are directly in contact with our body face or systemic circulation. Because when you handling the parental preparations, the total preparations are directly come into our systemic circulation. It directly injected in our systemic circulation. So what should happen? So when it is directly come in your body, if it is consist any toxic substances, it got giving some unusual effects or side effects. Okay, and one time he should be died by the using some toxic substances which is present in the parental preparation. So you should careful about the drugs, because drugs which should be imported under the license. Okay, so Schedule C and C1 is the most important criteria or categories for imports of drug and cosmetics. Next, coming into the drug specified in Schedule X, it is the most important category because Schedule X means narcotic drugs. Narcotics means which consists some unhabitual substances which give some mentally disturbances during the intake of the drugs. Mental disturbance means all types of sedatives, all types of anti-anxiety drugs are under the Schedule X because they are all narcotic category. Alprazolam, okay, salbutamol, okay, benzodiazepine, the muscle relaxants, those are under the category of Schedule X because you should take the drugs of Schedule X. What happened? You get some sleepy appearance, okay, you get some mental disturbances, and they are depressed your nervous system. What happened? You got some sleep during that moment after taking the drugs. So Schedule X drugs you have to take in the over amount. This causes death, or it causes you go to the coma in this case. So Schedule X is the most important drugs, and you have control that it is used within limits. So during importer, you get the another permit for uh, getting these Schedule X drugs from the licensing authority. You get full form. You have know about the one form that you should fill by the licensing authority as well as the importer country. When importer country fill the category that they have try to import a Schedule X category of drug. So they fill the form and submit into the licensing authority. When he should submit into the licensing authority, they can get the access about the Schedule X. But there are mentions there about the depending on the company reputation that what amount of Schedule X drug you should import from the importer country. Okay. So always you remember that when any company Schedule X is imported from any company, it is denoted by a red color red line. Okay. When any company input any Schedule X types of drug, it is denoted by the red color red line because it is over amount of take causes some death and coma in this using these drugs of Schedule X and some natural narcotic drug also presents. That is cannabis, poppy seed, opium. Okay, these are also under the Schedule X category of drugs, but they are biological source. Now, come into the when this is the most important criteria in case of Schedule C, C1, and Schedule X. When small quantity of drugs imported for the purpose of examination or test for analysis. When a company first take a sample, first I am say that you should get a category that this category amount of drug we should get from the exporter. So when this category sent to the exporter country, they send a sample amount of drugs. When importer country take the sample amount of drugs, okay, and go for test analysis. After getting the test analysis, they get a report that this is match or fulfill the criteria. So we are able to get the product from this country. So this is a small portion for category for test or analysis. Next is the drugs imported for personal use covered by prescriptions of registered medical practices. So when drugs is imported for personal use, okay, when any person is trying to purchase from any drugs for personal use, this would be handled by or covered by prescriptions of registered medical practitioners. When the doctor prescribe you, then you get the drugs from the importer country. Okay, this is the systems. And this category also include in case of new drug importers. So first, in case of new drug importer, you have to get the permissions from the licensing authority. Then you are able to import the new drugs from any exporter country. So these are the important some categories. These are included into the import under license or permit of drug and cosmetics. Now come into the what are the conditions we have to getting for import and license. We have to maintain those conditions for getting the license for import. First is the manufacturer shall comply with the conditions at all times given by him or in his behalf in the undertaking. Manufacturer means those are manufacturing the products or these manufacturers are shows as a exporter manufacturer or this manufacturer is so as a importer manufacturer. Manufacturer try to import the product or any product they are export. So manufacturer when import any product and they are trying to getting license for import. So say first they are maintain the conditions under the import of the products. Conditions means what are the conditions is undertaken under the drug and cosmetic. Okay. So this priority when they are fulfill up, they can able to get the license. Next come into the license shall allow any inspectors authorized by the licensing authority. So this inspector is directly connected with the licensing authority. So when any company or when any organization is trying to getting license or licensing authority, they send a inspector, authorized inspector to that organization or manufacturer. He should enter any premises where the import substances is stops. Okay, so importing country first criteria is the stock clearance. Stocks means where they get imported the drugs or cosmetics and stocked in these portions of the company. So this stock area is eligible for stocked the product if you are they are importing the Schedule X drugs. So they have the proper criteria, proper uh, area for storing these products. Okay, if they are importing the biological products, see, or parental products, so they have proper refrigeration conditions or not in the stock segment. The first inspector surrounding those portions of the stock area where they stock the import product, they are checked and they inspect the area, and if any employed for testing the substances and take samples for test analysis. Any assistant is there with the inspector. They take some samples from the, if it is already imported, they take some import samples and they going for the testing analysis. Okay, so this is the second condition. Third condition is that license shall furnish a sample adequate for examinations as required by the licensing authority together with full protocols of the test, if any, which have been applied. When any company is trying to import some substances or getting license from the licensing authority, so when the license shall furnish by a sample adequate for examinations is required, they first take the stock area, then take the samples property, and the all samples property together with the full test protocol sent to the inspector. Inspector sent to the licensing authority, and licensing authority head to check that which protocols and the testing results sent by the inspector from this company, that it should be okay. So they are getting take the responsibility of imports of these products. Next is that if directed by the licensing authority, the license shall not sell or offer for sale any other batch in respect of which a sample or protocol are furnished as indicated above. Okay, they have said that any company or any organization, they are able to get license and they already get the license for import, but they are not eligible to give the license to another company to purchase a product or to import a product. Okay, or sell the license to the other organization to purchase a product or import a product. This is the criminal offense, because the licensing authority should give the license to this particular company with the authorized name. Okay, but this companies try to sell the license or give the license to import a product from the another company, it is a criminal offense. But this is another way. That's way you can give the license. First, you apply into the licensing authority that I am not take the responsibility, but I am not able to take the responsibility of this license. So I sell this license or give the license to the another manufacturing company. So first, those company you have transferred the license or for the import of the drugs. First, you take the consentment letter from this company that they are able to take this responsibility of license. So after getting this consentment letter from this company, send the consentment letter with some protocols or forms fill up directly to the licensing authority. The licensing authority can have eligibility to transfer the license to previous company to the next company of the new company. Only licensing authority should done this process. But any company, if try to himself to transfer the license or sell the license with a huge amount of money, it is a criminal offense. So you have to go the officially process. So after getting the license, if any company, they get the certificate from the licensing authority. In this point, in case of license is informed by the licensing authority that any drugs does not comply with the prescribed standard of the strength, quality, and the purity, so he should withdraw the remainder of the batch from the market. So any company getting the license from the licensing authority for import the drugs. So during import, when import the drugs or manufacturers intake for drugs or export the drugs during portions. So when manufacture these types of products, they not maintain the standard strength quality of drugs. So when any company import the drugs or any company export the drugs, so both time they are getting the samples which is not matched with their criteria they have mentioned. They are not matched with the standard strength, standard quality, or the purity of the drugs. If it is not matched, what happens? You have to claim those company, those they are prepared. So this company which export the product or you have import the product, so this company have withdraw the product from the market. It is called the market recall. Okay. You remember that it is called the market recall. Market recall means any types of claims or any types of complaint reports is directly come from the importer or exporter country to the manufacturing area. What should happen? The government force him to remove the product or withdraw the product from the markets, and you take the responsibility that first you make the product properly with standard quality, strength, and purity. Then you have get the eligibility to send the product again into the markets. Next is the license shall maintain a record of all sales of imported substances, so in particular of the substances, and of a person to whom sold, and such other particulars as specified by the licensing authority. Such record should be open to the inspections of any authorized inspectors. So when you get the license, you first prepare a records for all sales or imported of substances. What type of substances you have to import it from the other country, this is drug or cosmetics, you have to first categorize it's himself in a register or in the small record books. You keep the record that you have purchased these types of drugs in that date, that company, in that time, and this is the full product criteria, and it is matched with this criteria or not. You should write this parameter in the record books. So after record, you can get a total importer. You have prepared is importer records which should be cross verified by the licensing authority or specified by in a particulars of licensing authority. So such records it should be confidential for you. Okay. You should take the responsibility that only in case of inspection purpose, when any authorized inspector like drug inspector is come to inspect that what type of drugs you are dealing with this exporter country or import. So in that situation, you should reopen it into the in front of drug inspector. Only authorized inspector can show this records or registers books. Okay, so you first just maintain these registers and in the confidential manner and should reopen on the in front of authorized inspectors. Next is the in respect of sales of distribution of drugs specified in Schedule X. Already you know that I am said that Schedule X means it is the most harmful substances, most risky substances. Okay, so it is a narcotic drugs. So any product, any company is trying to import a Schedule X category of drugs, he should get the license from the licensing authority, and only for the Schedule X drugs you should make a record in a separate manner. Meaning you have to maintain a separate register or separate record group only for Schedule X. Okay. In case of you importing Schedule C, Schedule C1, Schedule A category, Schedule B category of drugs, these types of product you have to maintain a one register. But only for Schedule X category of drug when you have to import it or handling, that time you should maintain a only separate book from the other schedules of drugs. So separate record registered books showing the following particulars. You have to maintain during the sale of distributions or imports of the drug specified under Schedule A. You have to maintain some following particulars in your record books or register showing in this matter. First is the name of the drugs, like alprazolam. It is the name of the drugs. The next coming to the batch number. Now, which batch number you import or export the product? This batch number you should maintain here. After getting the batch number, next is the name and address of the manufacturer. Which company you have to they have manufactured and their names. Okay. So this manufacturer name you should mention here. Next is the date of transaction. Which date you have to transaction? If you import or export. Bracket in bracket you write down the date of transaction and bracket if you import the or you have export this product. You have to mention it. Next is the opening stock on the business day. If you open the stock means you have imported some product and stock it into the particular area. So then after importing, you have to sell. You decide that you have to sell the product from the stock. So you open the stocks and in the business day when you have to sell the product from the other distributor or the other seller. So opening the stock on the business day is opening the you should mention it. Next, come into the quantity of drug receipt. If it is 1 kilo, 2 kilo, 50 kg, this quantity should mention in its register or record book, if any, and the source from which receipt. And bracket, he also mentioned that which source you have to receive. Okay, it's a manufacturer name. Manufacturer name you have to previously mention, but then when you write down the quantity of drug receipt, you also mention the manufacturer. Name of the purchaser is address and license number. Which purchase committee have decided to sell the product to you? Manufacturer committee have different purchase committee. So this manufacturer purchaser name you should also write down in this register or raw book. Okay. Purchaser, address, license number all should be written in this record books. Next, balance quantity of drugs at the end of the business day. So business day after stock clearance, when you clearance of stock, if you consider 50 kg of materials, you have clearance 30 kg of stock. So you have remaining 20 kg of stock. So this remaining quantity of 20 kg, you should mention in a record book that our total quantity 50 kg and re-clear the stocks 50 kg, 30 kg and remaining stock is 20 kg. You have to mention this. Okay. Next, after all mentions, the signature of the persons under who supervise the drugs have been supplied. Okay. The supplied drugs supervised by the another person. These persons take this product, test this product, all types of parameters you should done. So those persons are handling these types of product. They have signed in the end of this logbook or with signatures. And it is the last conditions that license shall comply with such further requirements as may be prescribed by the licensing authority and which has been given not less than 4 months. It is said that when a license complying with the further requirements, okay, further requirements means those company only imported Schedule X drugs or Schedule C, Schedule C1 drugs. So separate license should be taken from the licensing authority. That time, you should be mentioned in a prescribed manner that I am importing the Schedule X drugs, applying to the licensing authority for getting license, and this process given not less than 4 months notice, and you have to give the 4-month notice to the licensing authority that here requirements a license which is comply with the Schedule X category of drugs or other. So first you give the 4 months notice that I am dealing with the Schedule X drugs, I am trying to Schedule X drugs, so you have to get the license. So after getting the 4-month notice, they have sent send a inspector to your manufacturing area. So after sending the inspector here, they inspect their manufacturing area and the stockist area. After showing the stockist area, before after 4 months notice, they give the information to the licensing authority, and licensing authority give the license for stocks or import the product about this schedule X stocks. So this is the total conditions you have to maintain when you have imported the drugs and cosmetics under the Drug and Cosmetics Act. So today, this is the I end this topic here. So if any questions regarding, so ask me. If any questions about this. Any questions?
স্যার এক্সামে আপনার পার্টটা কতটা থাকবে?
আমার পার্ট থাকবে হচ্ছে আগের দিন যতটা পড়িয়েছি, মানে ইম্পোর্ট অফ ড্রাগ এন্ড কসমেটিক্স এর আগের ক্লাস হচ্ছে। মানে লাস্ট আমাদের হয়েছিল হচ্ছে এক্সিকিউটিভ এজেন্সি। এক্সিকিউটিভ এজেন্সি টোটালটাই থাকবে, পুরোটাই প্রসিডিউর অফ ইন্সপেকশনস, prohibitions of manufacture and sales of certain drugs and cosmetics, procedure for inspections, এগুলো সব থাকবে, এক্সিকিউটিভ এজেন্সি অবধি থাকবে। গুগল ফর্মটা দিয়েছি, দেখো অ্যাটেন্ডেন্স ফর্মটা। আগের গুলো পড়েছো? ঐশিক, ঐশিক আছো? অরিত্র?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
আগের ক্লাসগুলো পড়েছো?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
পড়াশোনা করেছো?
পড়াটা মানে করেছি, ক্লাসগুলো শুরু করা।
চোপড়া কমিটির ফাংশন গুলো বলো তো, যে কোনো দুটো ফাংশন বলো। চোপড়া কমিটি
সেরকম ভাবে পড়া হয়নি, বলতে পারবো।
কি পড়েছো? ড্রাগ এনকোয়ারি কমিটি কবে এস্টাবলিশ হয়েছিল? আমিষা, আমিষা, ড্রাগ এনকোয়ারি কমিটি কবে এস্টাবলিশ হয়েছিল? লেফট হয়ে গেলে অ্যাটেন্ডেন্স পাবে না।
হ্যালো
কিংবা আমিষা,
হ্যালো স্যার।
ড্রাগ ইনকোয়ারি কমিটি কবে এস্টাবলিশ হয়েছিল?
হ্যালো
হ্যালো, শুনতে পাচ্ছ?
হ্যালো
শুনতে
স্যার।
পাচ্ছ? ড্রাগ এনকোয়ারি
হ্যাঁ
কমিটির
হ্যাঁ
নাম শুনেছো?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
ড্রাগ ড্রাগ এনকোয়ারি কমিটি কবে এস্টাবলিশড হয়েছিল? ইয়ার, হুইচ ইয়ার?
ড্রাগ এনকোয়ারি কমিটি 1928 এ এস্টাবলিশ হয়েছিল।
আচ্ছা, চিন্ময়,
ইয়েস স্যার।
ফার্মাকোপিয়ার ফার্স্ট এডিশন কবে হয়েছিল?
স্যার 1953 তে।
ভেবে বলো। অফিসিয়াল বুক অফ ইন্ডিয়া ফার্মাকোপিয়া ফার্স্ট।
আচ্ছা 1955 এ।
হুম। আর কমিটিটা কবে তৈরি হয়েছিল?
কোন
ইন্ডিয়ান ফার্মাকোপিয়াল কমিটি?
তো ভাটিয়া কমিটি?
না, ইন্ডিয়ান ফার্মাকোপিয়াল কমিটি। এটা খুব ইজি মনে রাখা, এটা মনে রাখবে যে ফার্মাসি অ্যাক্ট যবে হয়েছিল তবেই ইন্ডিয়ান ফার্মাকোপিয়া কমিটি তৈরি হয়েছিল।
স্যার 1948।
হ্যাঁ। নীলেন্দু আছো? নীলেন্দু, নীলেন্দু।
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
হুম। হাতি কমিটি চেয়ারম্যানের নাম কি?
টাইটেলটা স্যার ছিল হাতি, নাম
হাতি কমিটি বানিয়েছে মানে টাইটেল তো হাতি হবে। নীলেন্দু দাস হবে কি? তাহলে তো দাস কমিটি হয়ে যেত।
স্যার জয়সুখলাল হাতি।
হাতি কমিটির ফাংশন কি? কি করে? হাতি তৈরি করে?
না না স্যার, মেডিসিন গুলো স্যার কতটা অ্যাভেলেবেল হচ্ছে মার্কেটে, সেলফ সাফিসিয়েন্সি কতটা, ওইগুলো মেনটেন করে মানে রিজনেবল
আজকে
প্রাইসে।
আজকে একটা আমি ফাংশন করালাম, সেই ফাংশনটা কি এর সাথে রিলেটেড? কোন ফাংশনটা বলো তো?
স্যার ইম্পোর্ট অফ ড্রাগ।
হ্যাঁ, ইম্পোর্ট, লাইসেন্সিং, প্রাইস কন্ট্রোল, role of foreign sector, quality control, those are also controlled by the হাতি কমিটি that time. এখন অনেকগুলো কমিটি তৈরি হয়েছে আন্ডার হাতি কমিটি, যারা এগুলো রেগুলাইজ করে, কিন্তু ফার্স্ট মার্কেটে এই প্রসেস গুলোকে ইনবিল্ড করে বা এস্টাবলিশ করে হচ্ছে হাতি কমিটি। তৈরি করো এক্সামের জন্য, সবকটা চ্যাপ্টার, ডেট, সব ফাংশন গুলো একটু ভালো করে প্রিপেয়ার করো, ঠিক আছে? কোশ্চেন একটু ঘুরিয়ে আসবে, মাল্টিপল অ্যান্সার হতে পারে কিছু কিছু কন্ডিশনের, তো সেই ওয়াইজ প্রিপেয়ার করো।
স্যার
আমি
ঘুরিয়ে
যে
বলতে কিরকম?
ঘুরিয়ে বলতে ধরো যে তোমার অনেকগুলো কোম্পানি আলাদা আলাদা নাম আছে, সেই কোম্পানির নামটা দিয়ে অন্য কোম্পানির নাম দেওয়া হয়। ধরো ডেক কমিটির জায়গায় দেওয়া হলো চোপড়া কমিটি, কিন্তু দুটোর ফাংশন কিন্তু এক, ঠিক আছে? সেই জন্য সেইভাবে তৈরি করো। ইয়ার গুলো খুব কনফিউজ করে, 1948 এর জায়গায় 1949 মেরে দেওয়া হয়েছে, 1955 এর জায়গায় 1954 হয়ে যায়, এই গুলো খুব কনফিউজিং, ঠিক আছে? সো ইয়ার গুলো একটু খাতায় লিখে রেডি করো। একটা কাজ করতে পারো, প্রত্যেকটা কমিটি খাতায় লেখো, তার পাশে পাশে ইয়ার গুলো, তাহলে কি হয়, মেমোরাইজ করতে সুবিধা হয়। এটা একটু লজিক্যালি পড়তে হয়, টেকনিক্যালি। এটা তো একটু হিস্ট্রি বেস সাবজেক্ট, এটার মধ্যে কোনো তুমি বোঝার চেষ্টা করলে কিছু পাবে না, তোমাকে গল্পের মতো মনে রাখতে হবে। তো ইয়ার গুলোকে মনে রাখতে গেলে ফার্স্ট কি করবে, একটা শিটের মধ্যে প্রত্যেকটা কমিটির নেম লেখো, তার পাশে 1 by 1 ইয়ার, এবং সেই কমিটির সাথে যদি কোনো মেন পার্সন ইনক্লুড থাকে সেই পার্সনের নেম, এইভাবে পড়ো। পড়লে কি হবে, ইয়ার গুলো তোমাদের মাথায় থাকবে। যেমন ফার্মাকোপিয়ার অনেকগুলো এডিশন আছে, লাস্ট এডিশন কবে?
2018।
কালার কি বই?
স্যার গেরুয়া।
গেরুয়া। তো এইগুলো একটু মাথায় রাখতে হবে, কারেন্ট এডিশনস, ঠিক আছে? আমি এই পরীক্ষাটাই বলছি না, নেক্সট ক্লাসে আমি কিছু অ্যামেন্ডমেন্ট বলবো, যে প্রত্যেকটা ফার্মাকোপিয়ার কিছু কিছু অ্যামেন্ডমেন্ট আছে। দেখবে যে ফার্মাকোপিয়া তুমি লাইব্রেরিতে গেলে দেখতে পাবে তোমরা, যে ফার্মাকোপিয়ার 3টে ভলিউম ছাড়াও তার পাশে আরেকটা সরু রঙের অরেঞ্জ কালারের বই আছে, ওটাও উপর লেখা রয়েছে ইন্ডিয়ান ফার্মাকোপিয়া লাস্ট এডিশন 2008। কিন্তু ওটার ফাংশন কি? ওটাকে বলে হচ্ছে অ্যামেন্ডেন্ট। অ্যামেন্ডেন্টটা বেরোয় কিছু বছর আগে, মানে 1 বছর বা 1.5 বছর আগে। অ্যামেন্ডেন্টটা তৈরি হওয়ার পর তৈরি হয় হচ্ছে ফার্মাকপি। অ্যামেন্ডেন্টটা কিছুই নয়, ওটা হচ্ছে অ্যাবস্ট্রাক্ট বুক বলা যেতে পারে। মানে ওই 3টে ভলিউমের মধ্যে যা আছে, কোন পেজ নাম্বারে কোথায় আছে, টোটাল জিনিসটা ওই একটা 500 থেকে 600 বইয়ের মধ্যে ওটা ইনক্লুড করা হয়। এটাকে বলা হচ্ছে অ্যামেন্ডেন্ট। প্রত্যেকটা ফার্মাকোপিয়ার প্রত্যেক বছর আলাদা আলাদা ভাবে অ্যামেন্ডেন্ট তৈরি হয়েছে। অ্যামেন্ডেন্ট গুলো আমি বলবো, ওগুলো খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট। ঠিক আছে, প্রিপারেশন নাও। আর যদি কোনো কনফিউশন থাকে তোমরা এর মধ্যে জিজ্ঞাসা করে নিতে পারো, আমার হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে জিজ্ঞাসা করতে পারো, অথবা গুগল ক্লাসরুমেও তোমরা জিজ্ঞাসা করে নিতে পারো, অসুবিধা নেই। ঠিক আছে, আমি তাহলে শেষ করছি।
হ্যালো।
হ্যাঁ বলো।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, বলছিলাম যে এই ক্লাসের এনরোল কোডটা কি স্যার এটা বলতে পারবে না?
ওটা গুগল ক্লাসরুমে?
হ্যাঁ, ফার্মাসিউটিক্যাল জুরিসপ্রুডেন্স এর কি বলে ক্লাসটার এনরোল কোডটা একটু বলতে পারবে?
আমি তোমাদের যে 5th সেম ডিএসটি ক্লাসরুম আছে ওখানে আমি পাঠিয়ে দেবো। ঠিক আছে,
ওকে ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার। হ্যাঁ।